you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast. I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2029. The album, Dad AF. Hey little thing, let me light your candle, cause mama, I'm so hard to handle now. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Mess around. So apparently, whenever I sing that song, you know, like how people always get lyrics wrong. Are there songs out there that, blinded by the night, took off like a douche and something in the... Anyway, you know how we get all the words wrong to songs? But anyway... back in the day, my friend and I, we used to love that song, These Sounds Fall Into My Mind, but we always thought it was Big Town Boogie on a Saturday night. We would literally sing it like we thought that that was the song. But anyway, every time I sing that Black Crow song, I get this one comment from this one person out there. Thank you for commenting, because I didn't know I was singing the wrong lyrics, because I always at the very end say mess around, and apparently it's like yes I am or something like that. So anyway, I just looked it up and it's like yes sir am. So I guess it's yes I am. I don't know. Anyway, are there songs out there that you guys sing and you get the lyrics wrong? Okay. Boost. Let's get into today's video. Today we are going to talk about, got lots to say today. We're going to talk about Nikkie tutorials, and I actually think that this might be a 2 for Monday. I have another video that I want to make. I'll either save it for tomorrow or I will make it today as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, today I want to talk about Nikkie tutorials and what came out in the series with the Shane's recent episode with Jeffree Star. I do want to say this. First of all, my condolences go out to Jeffree Star. And you know, I have to just tell you, like, I got a comment yesterday, or a direct message yesterday. Somebody was saying that I talk a lot about, like, I don't engage a lot on Twitter anymore. And I had said something in a vlog about because it's, like, extremely toxic. You know, there were some things that were said that I just thought were truly, truly, truly evil in regards to this whole thing. You guys, the man just lost his second dog in the matter of a couple of months. I cannot even imagine losing one of my dogs, let alone two. Be kind. Like, can we just find some grace in the world a little bit, you know? So anyway, to Jeffree and Nathan, I am, like, my condolences. I can't even imagine what you're going through right now. I just think that it's so incredibly sad. So anyway, let's send a little bit of love and positivity out there in the world. No matter where you stand on any kind of issue, the man is a human being, you know? Come on now. So anyway, I wanted to talk about what came out in this whole situation with the Nikkie tutorials and the Two-Face situation that was alleged in Shane's most recent episode. And in that and I think everybody probably knows what I'm talking about right now. Like, every drama channel out there has made a video about it. And I've watched all the videos about it. I've watched it all go down. Nikkie tutorials herself. I always wonder, like, did she get her name legally changed to tutorials? Did she call her Miss Tutorials at this point? But anyway, so this is a story that actually came out in 2017. Several people back then made videos about it. Sam for Here for the Tea, she made a video about it, pretty extensive video. Sanders Kennedy made a video about it at the time. I think several of us did. I may have even made a video about it back then. I don't know. About this whole contract that went through and her falling out that she had with Jared Blandino and Two-Face Cosmetics. And this was like an issue that happened, you know, back then. And so it was interesting that it came up again in this video series. And on the heels of this coming out, what was found was that Nikkie was given basically a flat fee for a collaboration that she did, and she was paid $50,000, okay, for a collaboration. And that was all she got paid. She didn't get paid anymore, and it went on to sell like millions of dollars worth. I think like $10 million, I think is the number that they cited. Well, the internet went crazy when this came out in the Shane series, and people were talking about, like, that they got really, really screwed, or that she got really, really screwed. People were coming for Two-Face Cosmetics. People were like, I mean, I saw hashtag boycott a Two-Face all over Twitter. You know, which you gotta be careful of that stuff, you guys, okay? Like, you gotta be careful of some of that stuff, the legalities of all of that. And so it was interesting because, like, for the first 24 hours, Nikkie didn't really say anything, and, you know, it was all this stuff that got hyped up about her, and I have kind of an outside thought about this in just a second. So, it was interesting to see how this unfolded. You know, like, I mean, it literally, I'm almost kind of surprised it didn't start trending on Twitter because it was everywhere. I couldn't even get on Twitter without seeing people talking about this, right? Which it is very, very sad, you know, like that she, you know, got this low rate. And here's the thing I think you have to think about in regards to us talking about, like, Marlene Estelle coming out earlier this year and her talking about, you know, like, rates that they pay influencers, and she cited a number of $75,000 and that she doesn't, you know, like, have that kind of money to pay these influencers for Makeup Geek and things like that to do, you know, endorsements and sponsorships. And the thing that's interesting about that is that Nikkie Tutorials, at the time that she did this collaboration with Too Faced Cosmetics, she had a large following, right? So $50,000 was probably what she could have gotten paid by doing, what do you call it? Just by doing like a sponsored video, or what some people today are getting paid for sponsored videos at the number that she had back then. So it's interesting to me, right? And, you know, there's, I'm sure, contracts and all that kind of stuff that go in with this whole idea of collaborations, which I want to talk about in a second. But Nikkie came out and she had some things to say about this. Hold on just a second. This was, the first one that she put out was from the 5th, and this came out at 5:50 a.m. on the 5th. Oh, no, that was her presenting her thing. So this was from the 6th at 2:41 a.m. And she said, 2:41 a.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time. And she said, I signed my contract with Too Faced back then because I was naive and I didn't know better. At the end of the day, I signed it. It's my own fault. But what I'll never forgive is that allegedly they changed the palette's quality behind my back. Thousands of negative reviews, and I was clueless, okay? And then she goes on to say, I had to see all these negative reviews with the palettes. And with the palettes I had were outstanding. They're lying in their videos to get views, is what I was told. I don't care about the money, but I had to fight years to prove my authenticity and gain your trust again. And then she goes on and she says, now the situation is in the past. It was the biggest lesson I have ever had to learn, but I'm glad it brought me so much knowledge. I'm thankful to Oprah Cosmetics for showing me how it should be done. Glow babies, the future is bright. I have exciting things happening soon. And to any new influencer about to get a collab, get a lawyer and triple check that shit, okay? And then that was what she had to say, and people were going in there and they were being very, very supportive of her and things like that. The CEO of Too Faced Cosmetics, his sister, she went off on Twitter a little bit, and basically she tagged Oprah Cosmetics and was like saying that Nikkie wasn't professional and all this kind of stuff, talking about all this. But the thing is that to some degree Nikkie was forced to talk about it because it came up in this series. And I think that it's important that it came up in this series, you know? I think as an example, you know, a lot of people are saying that Jeffree brought it up in this series to take out his competition to some degree. Well, I can see how people are saying that, but the reality is that Too Faced isn't really Jeffree Star Cosmetics competition at this point. And it's like he's made it pretty clear that he doesn't endorse their products. And this was a story that had already come out 2 years ago. So for anybody that's like watched this go on for 2 years, like we already knew this had come out. Like this wasn't a new story, you know? Like when I saw it in there, it didn't even really kind of like, it didn't really bleep on my radar, so to speak, because I already knew that it had happened. I didn't really think a whole lot about it in regards to the series until I started seeing Twitter go crazy. In all honesty, I mean, I just really didn't think much about it. And then when I saw it, that all these people were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I have to say that a lot of people that were kind of going crazy about it were people that weren't around in 2017, like at least not like in the drama community and things like that, because this was a huge story back then. I mean, it was a big deal. So anyway, that was, you know, all of this goes down, and it's really interesting to me. But I have to say that one of the things that I found the most interesting, and I do want to say this, and this is kind of on a side note because I'm not going to really talk a whole lot about this, but Dustin Dailey did a fantastic video. I just went and looked, and it has like 87,000 views on it. I'm really surprised this video doesn't have like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views on it. He went and he did a video talking about that allegedly, in his conspiracy, and he says allegedly like 5 times, right? That the laboratory that Too Faced used is supposedly, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, per Aphrodite. For entertainment purposes, no, he has nothing to do with this. But anyway, allegedly, it's the same lab that Jaclyn Cosmetics used for her lipsticks, okay? And you have to go watch Dustin's video. I'm not going to take that away from him. He has all the receipts in there, and he was the first one to find it. So go watch it. But what was interesting to me about watching that is that I just mentioned Aphrodite, the psychic tarot reader who's a dear friend of mine. If you go watch his video about the lipsticks, what he says in there was that somebody warned Jaclyn not to use this laboratory, which is very, very interesting to me because people have speculated who that was. Well, was that Nikkie Tutorials? Did she know that? Anyway, the implications of that, what he found in that video are like huge, so you guys should go watch that video. What I thought about this whole situation that was interesting to me was that everybody's going crazy, right? About the fact that Nikkie Tutorials got screwed over this collaboration, which she obviously did, okay? And this is the thing, when you talk about like business ethics and integrity, you know, it's not about how much can I get away with, it's about really like, if as a business owner, should you? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, if let's just say if company A can take advantage of person A, should they or should they be, you know, have their integrity and they should do what's right? Like, should they offer what this person, you know, what they are worth at that value and things like that, you know? And that's the thing. It's like she was worth a lot more to be doing this collaboration and she didn't know that at the time, right? And I think that that's kind of like the world of the influencer. And I have to believe that this isn't just in the beauty industry. I have to believe that this is influencers across the world, you know, or across the world and on YouTube, you know, that we now are living in this generation where like these young kids move to like, you know, Los Angeles because they want to be influencer and they move in these influencer houses and they blow up on Instagram and but do they really know like their marketing worth and value? You know, it's interesting to me when they say that. You know, I had mentioned something the other day about a price point on what Shane Dawson would have got paid for his book. And I just said, I wonder what that was. And I literally got people, now I have friends of mine that are literary agents at huge publishing or at huge agencies in like New York City and places like that. And I know what they get for a debut author, let alone a YouTuber. I know what they get, okay? You're talking anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 on a debut author that could probably make the New York Times bestseller list, which Shane did with his following. People were quoting me things like $5,000 and $10,000. I was like, I don't know where you got that, but that is way off mark, which is why you should definitely always have an attorney if you're doing these kinds of things. And I actually did a video about this not too long ago where I talked about, I can't think of his name, oh shoot, Roberto. Oh, why can't I think of his name? Here, I'm going to look it up really quick. But he put it on his Twitter, and then I mentioned it in a video. He said, like, Roberto Blake, he did these, like, 10 things that you should know if you're an influencer over 1 million subscribers, and it was fantastic. And one of the things was, like, hire an attorney. And hire a PR person, too, you know? But as I was watching this, one of the things that was really interesting to me was that it took me back to Tati's By Sister video. Because now we're all coming for Too Faced Cosmetics, right? And in Tati's Too Faced Cosmetics video, do you guys notice I'm really trying hard to say Tati? You guys should give me praise for that, because it's hot, Tati. But anyway, in her By Sisters video, she talked in there about how James Charles was basically getting screwed when he was doing this palette situation, okay? And that her husband helped him with the contracts. She goes in there and she talks about this in the By Sisters video, which if you remember, it's not up anymore, unless I'm sure 300 people out there probably have it recorded. I almost said video, record it. If you have it on your VCR tape. But anyway, so she goes in there and she talks about how James didn't know like what he was doing with contracts and really how much he could get for this and on and on and on. Allegedly, that was Morphe, okay? Morphe is who he signed his contract to do with his palette. So it was either Morphe or it was another company that he was thinking about doing his palette with at the time, right? Which I seriously doubt it was Too Faced. I believe it to be Morphe. So does that mean that Morphe was going to give James Charles less than he was worth at the time that his James Charles Morphe palette came out? If that's the case, then is this just makeup companies overall that do this? Unless it's Jeffree Star, and that's what he's showing in the series, is that he's really fair and up on, you know, on the up and up on what percentage he gives to people. Because like I said in my video the other day, I thought 30% basically for your name alone is a really high percentage. I mean, if you know things about business, like that's a really high percentage mark, you know? And it's a really, really more than fair percentage mark. So it was interesting to me watching all this go down. I'm thinking to myself, is this just makeup companies? Or is this also Morphe? Like, I mean, did Morphe try to screw James Charles out of what he potentially could have made on that, you know, Morphe palette? And if Tati and her husband hadn't came in and helped him with that he would have gotten really screwed by that. You know, is this a lot of influencers? Is this a lot of people out there? I don't know. It gives you a lot to think about, doesn't it? It makes you really wonder, like, what's really going on out there in the beauty industry? And are these beauty people taking advantage, most of them, okay, are a lot of them taking advantage of people that just don't know any better? Because here's the thing when you're on YouTube, right? Like, let's say if somebody calls you up and they say, we want to do a sponsorship with you for, like, X, Y, and Z, right? Okay. Well, when you're early doing this, like, just think if you had started a YouTube channel, right? And you didn't know that you were going to get to a point where people would actually ask you to do a sponsorship. Oh, look, we have a little surprise guest. Hi, Pee-Pee. He said hello, Dad. But you didn't know that you were going to get to the point where you were going to be doing sponsorships. Because YouTube, like for Nikkie Tutorials, James, for any of these people, okay, is really no different than any of us out there starting it and then blowing up. Like, they didn't really think that that was going to probably ever happen to them someday, right? So here you have this company reaching out to you and asking you, you know, like, do you want to do a sponsorship with us, right? But you don't know your value at that point. I can't tell you how many, like, and I very rarely do sponsorships. You know that. If I do a sponsorship, it's because I 100% believe in the product, right? So it's interesting to me because, you know, I've had a lot of companies reach out to me and I'll say, okay, this is what I'll do it for, and this is what I know I can bring you. And they'll be like, well, based on your analytics and blah, 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 this is what you're worth. And they like low bid the hell out of me. And I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. You know, I'm just not. And they always come back with a counter offer. And it's like, and then I'm like, I'm still not interested. And then they come back. And then they're like, okay. And they basically come very close to what I asked for. And it's called negotiate. It's just negotiating in business, right? But if you're young and you don't know that and you've never done these things, and I've even gotten screwed on this, right? It's kind of like, okay, whatever, you know? And you don't really know what you're doing on there. And who do you ask? Because most people that are YouTubers, who's Nikki supposed to do? Is she supposed to call up somebody at the time? And maybe she should have, and maybe she was embarrassed, or maybe she was trying to keep it a secret that she had this collab come out, you know? And call up somebody and say, what do I know is fair? What do I know is not getting cheated? Because there's not really anybody out there that is showing what is fair and what you should do. And I actually hope to some degree, this beautiful bluebird just came and like landed right in front of me. Anyway, I'm really hoping to some degree, you know, because they say in there, like, people are speculating that a lot of the reason why Jeffree and Shane put this in the series was because they don't want influencers in the future to get screwed. And Jeffree even says that in regards to his merch, when he's talking about the merch and the high percentage rate and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens as a result of this. I mean, will makeup companies be held to a higher standard? You know, I wish that there was kind of like some advisory board that you could contact when you're going through this. I know it sounds stupid, but in all reality, it would be a smart idea if there would be like some kind of advisory board that you could contact and be like, hey, listen, like, I'm a YouTuber or I'm an Instagrammer and this is the amount of I'm an influencer. I hate that word. I'm a dude with a camera. But, you know, like, this is what I have. This is what they're asking. This is what they want from me. Like, how much do you think that I should offer or ask for, you know? I don't know. It's interesting. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.